All we ask is embrace the vision.
What's good, Vision Gang? You already know what it is, YouTube, and if you didn't know, you better find out, because this is your boy, DaVizion, and we back again with another UFC reaction. This MMA journey has been a great one, y'all. I'm still loving it. It has been nearly a month now since this started, and I don't feel like I'm slowing down at all. We're just gonna keep going and going, all like the Energizer Bunny. But this time we got a great video to react to. We got Charles Oliveira is an absolute badass. This is a documentary style video by Clenched Teeth. Clenched Teeth has had delivered some really good ones in the past in a couple of videos I reacted to, so we're gonna try them again. Hopefully this one doesn't disappoint at all. So let's not talk too much longer. Let's get right into the video. But before we do that, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell if you're really liking the videos. And let's say no more. Let's get the video going.
He was a guy who was kind of known as a guy who fell apart.
A quitter a little bit. Yeah.
Cub Swanson knocked him out.
Max Holloway had like that weird neck thing going on.
Because he was not a knockout artist. I think when you look at Charles Oliveira today, this man is capable of knocking anybody out.
I will never speak the way that I have spoken about Charles Oliveira again. I did not know he was that good.
So, you think you know toughness?
So, it sounds like
introduce you to Charles Oliveira.
He's had kind of an up and down
Oliveira's
career. It wasn't always just on top,
muscle
which
for
it's like an
MMA.
underdog story, which is cool.
It's the way to be in it.
Hailing from one of Brazil's harshest regions,
Brazil?
Oliveira ate shit for most of his childhood and turned it into fuel for success, becoming more than a fighter, but a living,
slamming,
breathing
submissions.
symbol of determination.
Do he strike at all?
When he knocked out Chandler,
Yes.
he beat the
He
shit
got
out of
some strike
Gaethje.
skills.
When he was putting it
and
on
he beat
people,
Justin Gaethje.
you gotta go, God,
I need to react to
damn.
Justin Gaethje too.
However, Charles's first fight began long before he stepped onto the UFC stage.
Of course.
He faced an illness in childhood
course.
so severe
Oh.
that doctors feared he'd be confined to a wheelchair for the rest of his
Wow.
life.
What did he go through?
So come along as we dive deep into the extraordinary journey
Yeah, I'm
of a
definitely
Brazilian
interested in
boy
learning about
who
this
overcame
kid.
poverty,
This kid, he's probably older
and
than me.
adversity
This
to
guy.
emerge as a UFC superstar. This is the story of Charles Oliveira.
Sao Paulo.
Born to a humble background, Charles Oliveira da Silva first opened his eyes in the rough and ready neighborhood of Vicente de Carvalho in Sao Paulo, Brazil, on October 17, 1989.
Yep.
Growing
He's
up,
about a year older
he was
than
a
me.
regular kid, consumed by a passionate love for soccer and dreaming of turning his passion into a profession, despite the lack of opportunities around him.
Duas prisas de uma favela. Minha mãe e meu pai não sabem nem escrever. Meu pai sabe bem pouco. Meu pai e minha mãe trabalharam em dois empregos. Minha mãe trabalhava de faxineira na escola e ela saía de lá e ia para casa do dono da escola para trabalhar de faxineira. Meu pai trabalhou na feira como frente a vida inteira e trabalhava no matadouro.
Essa aqui é minha avó, Dona Maria. Essa aqui é meu irmão, Emerson. Essa é minha tia, Regiane. Essa aqui também é meu outro irmão, Eduardo. Minha mãe, Osana. Meu pai, Toninho, Francisco. Esse aqui é meu cachorro, Chorão.
At the tender age of 7, Charles found himself grappling with a nasty case of rheumatic fever. The pain was so intense, he'd often find himself frozen in place, locked down by a tidal wave of hurt that left him unable to walk. As if that wasn't hard enough, he was diagnosed with a heart murmur, with his doctor warning him that he might become paraplegic.
Mano, meu pai ligou desesperado, chorando, parecia uma criança.
Although he was just 7 years old, Charles gave up on his dream of becoming a professional soccer player then and there. His parents, however, were devout Christians and trusted that God had better plans for their child. So they pushed Charles to stick to a regular lifestyle, including getting involved in all sorts of sports. And wouldn't you know, his health actually got better over time.
E, mano, eu falo muito isso, o esporte ele salva vidas, sabe? E a gente não fala, né? Acho que deve ser a mesma coisa, mas a gente não fala assim, pra você fazer o esporte, pra você ser um lutador. Não, a gente quer que a pessoa viva do esporte pra ela, tipo,
Yes,
Ter uma vida melhor,
that is true. People do
sabe,
sports
ter
to have a
corpo
better
melhor,
life,
ter
better body,
espírito
better
melhor.
spirit. That
Quando
is
você tá
true.
no esporte, você tem isso, sabe? Você tem um corpo melhor, você se sente bem. Você tem um espírito melhor, você acorda melhor, sabe?
For sure.
When he hit 12, his world changed as he began training at a Brazilian Jiu-jitsu gym.
E aí eu me encontrei, depois de rodar nisso aí tudinho, o que eu me apaixonei foi pelo jiu-jitsu, com 12 anos de idade. Sabe, o jiu-jitsu me ajudou, eu me apaixonei, eu me encontrei de tudo aquilo que eu fiz, eu falei, mano, é isso que eu quero.
Now, the Oliveira family knew a good opportunity when they saw one. They hustled, selling homemade snacks and recycling cardboard for some extra bucks to keep them in training. Charles threw himself into training and get this, he became the Sao Paulo champion just 2 months in.
That's impressive.
Sim, porque quando eu ia pros campeonatos, os mais velhos, antigão, falavam assim, esse moleque é muito talentoso, ele pega as coisas muito rápido. E tipo assim, pô, primeiro, acho que 1 mês de jiu-jitsu que eu tinha, eu já fui campeão.
He was Sao Paulo Jiu-Jitsu champion.
Not bad for a kid
I mean, that's
who's
a
supposed to become
pretty big city,
paraplegic.
and he came from some
In 2004,
garbage when it comes to
Oliveira
his health
won the
as a
Sao
kid.
Paulo Championships a second time. The Copa Nassau Jiu-Jitsu in 2005, and in 2006 won a total of 16 medals.
Shit.
In 2007, as a blue belt, he became 2-time World Jiu-Jitsu Cup champion, winning silver the following year as a purple belt and becoming 2008 World Jiu-Jitsu Cup South American champion. In March 2008, Oliveira made his professional MMA debut, stepping into the ring at the Predator Fight Championship. The event was the Predator FC 9 Welterweight Grand Prix, a tourney similar to those held by Pride FC. If you wanted the crown, you had to fight and win thrice.
3 lutas na noite.
Quantos rounds?
3 áudios de 5 minutos.
3
He started
5-minute
strong,
rounds.
taking out Jackson Pontes with a rear naked choke.
Batalhão.
Mais rápido?
Rápido. Uns 2 minutos de luta.
Nossa, você
Mas
apanhou? Você apanhou?
Só tomei uma bica.
which catapulted him to the second stage against Viscardi Andrade.
Viscardi de Andrade, ex-UFC também. Maior do que o cara primeiro que eu tinha ganhado.
Oliveira took him down in the second round via TKO and punched his ticket to the finals.
Shit.
Acho que ele foi fazer uma coisa, eu devo ter fechado o olho, Deus foi lá e abençoou, eu dei o estômago. Quando eu abri o olho assim, ele tava no chão, eu falei, eita, fui eu.
He closed his eyes when he
Championship round
punched
had
him.
Oliveira punching his way to
That's
victory
funny.
over Diego Braga.
Fiquei batendo tanto nele que nunca nocauteei o cara.
Cara, 2 nocaute,
Knocked him
mano.
completely out,
Daí
huh?
o cara repórter, pô, tamo aqui com ele, não sei o que lá. Como que é
Nocautear
nocautear? Eu falei, não, eu não sei, eu só sei que eu acertei e ele caiu.
In the months that followed, he collected win after win, ending the year with 6 wins and 0 losses. By the end of 2009, his record had already become an impressive 10-0.
Okay.
By January 2010, Oliveira was named as the 3rd best Brazilian prospect to watch in 2010, according to SureDog. And in August of the same year, with a 12-0 record, he would finally sign with the UFC.
Now, big leagues.
His UFC debut came against Darren Elkins. The bout turned out to be a masterclass in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, showcasing Oliveira's slick submission skills and deft groundwork.
Ooh.
Barely breaking a sweat, the Brazilian won by submission, forcing Elkins to tap out to an armbar just 40 seconds into the first round.
First round tap out. That's nice.
Congratulations on a beautiful submission victory in your UFC debut.
The submission earned him the Submission of the Night award. Fresh off his stunning debut, he then extended his unbeaten streak by submitting Escudero with a rear naked choke. His third UFC fight, a high-stakes match against Jim Miller in December 2010, however, proved to be a speed bump on his path. Miller, the older and more experienced fighter, locked on a vicious knee bar to get the submission victory at 1 minute and 59 seconds in the very first round.
Damn. First round him.
This was Oliveira's first professional loss and arguably the fight where many began losing interest in Oliveira.
Wow.
But kudos to Charles. He took it in stride.
That's the true thing I've realized about fighting. If you lose, your fan base just lose all hope in you. Like, it seems like when a fighter loses, everybody just turns on them. Correct me if I'm wrong, but let me know down below if you think that's also true. I mean, I've seen it with a lot of fighters where it seems like they had a lot of hype and then they lose a couple they could lose a fight, maybe even win the next one, but they lose a couple fights and the fan base just leaves on them, man. I'm not used to that. I'm used to people really sticking with their players or their athletes. So let me know down below what y'all think. Is the mixed martial art community a little bit harsh on fighters, or are they a little bit how should I say, unloyal to fighters? Let me know down below.
Tried and worked to get better. And as we'll see soon, he proved all his haters wrong.
Charles Oliveira versus Nick the Carney Lentz.
The Carney.
Charles' next opportunity came in June 2011 against Nick Lentz, a solid competitor with a strong wrestling background.
And here we go.
Lentz tackled Oliveira, but skedaddled when met with up kicks and leg grabs.
Yeah, very smart move on his part. You got to be careful for leg locks as well.
Clinched, Lentz ate a knee and punch combo and hit the deck from a matching right hand.
Wow.
Both tried, but failed to choke each other out. The round ended with Oliveira flooring Lentz after several punches and knees.
Looks like Charles, he really got control of this one, but
in round
this
two,
did get a little
Oliveira
offense.
cornered Lentz and returned a kick with a flying knee. Lentz, down on his knees, took an illegal knee to the face.
Okay, that's illegal.
The shot ended up breaking Lentz's eye socket. The referee, as incompetent as they come, missed it and failed to stop the fight as proper protocol demands.
That's a big mistake by this referee.
Oliveira eventually took Lentz's back and submitted him.
Is he getting booed?
However, after reviewing the bout over a couple of days, the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission overturned the decision to a no contest. Despite the controversy,
yeah, I mean,
the fight
that's right.
was indicative
I mean, if it's an illegal move,
unwavering resolve. He had bounced back from his defeat to Miller, demonstrating a commendable ability to adapt and improve. Just a short hop of 2 months later, Oliveira found himself back in the octagon, squaring off against Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
Charles Oliveira, very soft-spoken kid. You know, he's an exciting fighter, but he's, very respectful. Does that change anything for you going into a fight?
Not at all. It don't matter to me. I mean, I fight better pissed off, but, hey, what you gonna do?
Cowboy showed no mercy, sending Charles to dreamland in the first round. This marked Oliveira's first time being knocked out in a professional fight, and was no doubt a shock to the system for him. Back then, he surely was a perplexing figure for many UFC fans. He seemed to have a low pain tolerance, with many suspecting his ongoing struggle with weight cuts to be the culprit. In a desperate quest for a winning formula, Oliveira managed to chalk up 2 wins against Eric Wisely and Jonathan Brookins, only to lose against Cub Swanson in September 2012.
He's just up and down, like no consistency right now.
Despite being less competitive than expected, the bout with Swanson was still a notable one. Oliveira got off to a promising start in the first round, managing to sweep Swanson off his feet. But Swanson wasn't having it. He wriggled free, got his boots back on the ground, and gave Oliveira a good old-fashioned whooping. Ultimately, he knocked him down with the right hand.
Damn, Charles, you getting shit!
And then, like a gentleman, he simply walked away and didn't inflict any extra damage. This fight added more fuel to the narrative of Oliveira flopping when he was up against the big dogs, despite having a full deck of cards in his hand. But let's cut him some slack. The guy was only 22 and still figuring out his formula.
Still young,
in his
sure.
only 2013 bout, Oliveira faced off against Frankie Edgar at UFC 162.
I'm going to go in there, just get the job done, and I guess we'll see how good it is afterwards.
Many at the time felt that Oliveira was chosen to ensure an easy victory for Edgar.
Yeah, I fight who they tell me to fight. This is they offered, and I said yes. So that's pretty much the bottom line. I just got to get ready for a fight, just like any other fight. And he may not be top 10, but he's still a dangerous opponent.
Is he gonna get your kid back, man? Come on, get your kid back, bro.
Edgar initiated the first round strong, quickly unsettling Oliveira.
He's very slick with his submission game.
Yet, Charles recovered fast. Despite his attempts at counter-striking, however, Edgar's slams dominated, and the round concluded with a bloodied but commanding Edgar. In the second round, the intensity continued. Oliveira landed solid leg kicks, but Edgar's boxing was more notable. Edgar controlled the ground, assaulting Oliveira with punches and elbows. While Oliveira stood his ground, Edgar's blows won out, thwarting Oliveira's late attempt at a guillotine choke. The third round saw Edgar make an early lead, skillfully deflecting Oliveira's attempts at a comeback. While Oliveira managed to land a solid combo, it was Edgar's potent right hooks that took the toll. After preventing Oliveira's takedown, Edgar ended the fight with a barrage of punches, sealing his victory by unanimous decision.
They chosen this great fight.
Following this loss, Oliveira didn't sit around feeling sorry for himself. He came back swinging, racking up 4 victories against Andy Ogle, Hatsuhioki, Jeremy Stevens, and Nick Lentz.
So he got it on the right track again, winning side.
His showdown with Ogle at UFC Fight Night 36 in Brazil is especially noteworthy, as it was a real crowd pleaser.
He's in his home country. You better win there.
Oliveira, on his home field, pulled out all the stops and clamped Ogle in a triangle choke so tight that it made him tap faster than a Morse code operator. But Oliveira's career was like a pendulum. Swings of stunning victories, then hits of crushing defeats. Sure, he was a thrill to watch, but not many saw a future champ in him. Most MMA aficionados pegged him as a pretty average lightweight or featherweight contender. Things spiraled downward in August 2015 at UFC Fight Night 74, when Oliveira faced off against the then number 5 ranked Max Holloway, known as one of the most powerful strikers in the division. This was no ordinary fight. It was a title elimination contest, raising the stakes even higher. The event, to put it mildly, didn't go as planned for Oliveira. Try as he might, he couldn't get Holloway to hit the mat, nor could he stand toe-to-toe with him in a stand-up exchange. In a turn of events that stunned everyone, the fight was called off merely 1 minute and 39 seconds in.
Wow, what? Shit, come on,
Oliveira
man.
fell, clutching his neck and shoulder.
I'm getting embarrassed for him, bro. Like, I ain't seen nobody that's been requested to have such a rocky start to their career. Like, this is interesting. This is very interesting.
The harsh critique of spectators who started calling him a quitter.
St. Charles that fought Cub Swanson, St. Charles that fought Donald Cerrone. Choices were made in that by him, and the choice to quit was made.
This event would further cement his image as a middling fighter, seen as someone lacking the grit to clinch the championship.
He was a guy who was kind of known as a guy who fell apart.
A quitter a little bit, yeah.
Cub Swanson knocked him out. A bunch of guys had beat him.
Max Holloway had like that weird neck thing going on.
What happened to Max Holloway fight?
Remember, he had like a weird stinger almost in his neck, I think. And he kind of just crumbled in the corner and like tapped out. I think
Oliveira had his reasons. He revealed that a training session mishap 20 days before the fight had resulted in a head injury. When he squared off against Holloway, his left side just stopped working, and he feared he was on the fast track to becoming paraplegic.
He got scared.
His worst fears didn't come to pass.
Just
after a stint
mentally just
in the
tweaked him
hospital,
out.
He made a triumphant return to the octagon in December of the same year.
Is that a guillotine?
Securing a victory against Miles Jury through submission. Nevertheless, his career continued following the same frustrating trajectory, alternating between wins and losses.
This is frustrating.
After a
I'm just
December
watching.
2017 loss to Paul Felder, however, Oliveira's career finally started to turn a corner.
Okay, let's get to the good part of the story.
In Oliveira's typical style, low leg kicks and effective use of his.
It is kind of disappointing. It's like a drama, like.
For the first 4 minutes, he dominated grappling Felder.
Yeah, this is very dramatic. I mean,
The tide turned in the final minute when Felder jumped into Oliveira's guard and delivered powerful elbows. In round 2, Oliveira aimed to take Felder down again, but Felder retaliated with brutal elbows that floored Oliveira.
Eu sentia que eu batia nele, ele nem mexia. E quando ele batia em mim, eu falava, mano, eu tipo no meio da luta, eu falava, meu irmão, melhor.
After a few exchanges and scrambles, Felder managed to mount Oliveira again, and his relentless elbows signaled the end of the match. Yet this loss marked a pivotal point for Oliveira.
Okay.
Recognized for his incredible perseverance, skill, and self-awareness, he returned to the octagon in June 2018, rejuvenated to fight against fan favorite Clay Guida at UFC 225. Little did anyone know at the time, this fight would drastically alter the course of his career.
Okay, here we go. This is your redemption, boy. Let's get it.
UFC 225, June 2018.
Guida.
An evening that throbbed with energy. The arena resonated with cheers for Clay Guida, the local Illinois hero.
Oh, okay.
He's coming into the Lions
from the homeland,
Chicago, hometown, and I'll just make him pay even more for it. I'm going to literally take his head and bounce it off the canvas like a basketball. You know what I mean? So.
While Guida zigzagged around, prioritizing speed and evasion, Oliveira had other plans. He began with tactical low kicks, rendering Guida's overhand punches ineffective.
Amazing camp of killers.
The tale of Oliveira's boxing finesse unfolded as the fight continued. His hands weren't just fast, they were accurate. A particular jab left a memorable mark on his opponent's right eye. An injured Guida instinctively went for the grapple.
No.
A decision he'd regret.
Yeah.
Oliveira seizing the moment, locked in a guillotine.
I like that.
Choke, and Guida tapped out.
I like that shot, boy. Let's go.
I'm feeling amazing. I'm next and happy. Thank God.
This victory wasn't just another notch on Oliveira's belt. It was his 10th submission win, placing him alongside the iconic Royce Gracie in the UFC records. Most importantly, bouncing back from his defeat to Felder, this victory marked the beginning of his most remarkable winning spree in the UFC. After his impressive win against Guida, Oliveira wasted no time. By September 2018, during UFC Fight Night 137, he squared up against the seasoned Christos Giagos. Both fighters brought their A-game, but Oliveira's knack for ground dominance prevailed. Securing a submission in the second round.
Nice win.
He didn't just earn a win.
There you go, swag it off too.
The record, surpassing the legend Royce Gracie with an 11th submission win in the UFC.
I like this. His confidence. You can tell his confidence is up right now. You can just tell. You can just look at the way he's moving.
Oliveira had another score to settle, a rematch with Jim Miller. Let's jog your memory. Their first clash dates back to 2010. Back then, Oliveira was still navigating the UFC waters, his raw talent evident but unrefined. Miller, leveraging his experience, handed the young Oliveira a swift defeat. But 2018 painted a different picture. In their awaited rematch, Oliveira put Miller to the test.
Slammed his ass, got him in the
mere 75
getting the rear naked in, got him.
Remarkable growth.
Tapped him. What round was that?
Oliveira's 2 matchups with Miller say it all.
That was kind of quick. I didn't get to see what round it was.
Into an MMA dynamo, these fights mark Oliveira's undeniable ascent in the sport.
There's nothing. I don't know how to explain it sometimes, you know? I mean, it's just, there's so many little things involved, and, you know, you got to control what you can control, and that's really just the effort that you put into it and the attitude that you approach it with. So, it sucks. It really does.
Next up was David Teymur at UFC Fight Night 144 in 2019. Teymur was no easy opponent, but Oliveira, at the peak of his prowess, stole the show. A surprise elbow had Teymur reeling, and Oliveira swiftly locked in his trademark anaconda choke. This wasn't
anaconda choke, okay.
This was his 13th UFC submission win.
He's like the submission king then.
And of course, another performance of the night honor was in order. With a bucket load of confidence, Oliveira prepped for yet another showdown with Nick Lentz in May 2019. Lentz tried to rally, but Oliveira's onslaught was just too much. The outcome? A TKO in the second round, cementing
He got a
Oliveira's
TKO.
top-tier MMA status.
Oh! Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Later that year, he faced Jared Gordon and secured a first-round knockout, earning another Performance of the Night. In March 2020, he showcased his grappling against Kevin Lee and won with a third-round guillotine choke, bagging another Performance of the Night award.
That was a tough one. I'm pissed off at myself, for real. Like, I really am.
But the accolades didn't stop there. With this victory, Oliveira not only extended his UFC record for most submission wins to 14, but also ranked second in bonuses received with a whopping 16. Additionally, he boasted a streak of 7 consecutive finishes, the longest at the time in the UFC, tying with the legendary Donald Cerrone. In December of the same year, Oliveira marked a career high by decisively defeating Tony Ferguson.
Okay, he beat Ferguson.
Oliveira demonstrated superior.
I know Ferguson has been on a downhill
match, firmly establishing
slide.
his dominance on the scorecard.
And he had a fight last night, but I don't know who won that.
His performance against
I
Ferguson
have to look
was
that up.
exceptional, especially with his striking prowess.
But this ain't Tony Ferguson's
However,
video.
the ground
So.
game was where he truly shined, almost clinching the match with an armbar, only for Ferguson to be saved by the round.
I thought he broke it. Hyperextension like a motherfucker.
So I'm doing two things.
Shit.
One, I'm looking for a dislocation, separation, or break, but I'm also listening to see if it's going to be a verbal, the crack in the arm or verbal submission. He did not. He battled through that, and we got to be conscious of the time. So the 10-second clapper had already gone off, so I'm counting down in my head. And the goal is to, right when that horn goes off, you'll see when we stop a submission from that, we go right to the pressure point, push back the opposite way, and take off the pivot point in his underarm to stop it. Because some guys are going to try to hold it for an extra second after the goes off. Right as that stops, I'm pushing on it and stopping it, also verbally telling the guy to stop.
In round 2, Oliveira continued his dominance. By the third round, it was evident that Ferguson needed to make something happen. But that something never came. Oliveira
He's just tossing him around?
Unanimous decision.
Good shit.
Really tough fight. It was one of the best performances I've ever seen. I mean, what you did to a guy in Tony Ferguson who's been one of the most dominant forces in the lightweight division, you controlled every single aspect of the fight. The stand-up, the ground, you almost submitted him. And were you surprised?
In May 2021, Oliveira faced Michael Chandler for the vacant UFC lightweight championship. In an unpredictable title match, both fighters showcased moments of domination before a champion was declared. Chandler came out of the gate with force, landing a left hook and swiftly transitioning into a guillotine choke against Oliveira's takedown attempt. While Chandler had initial success, especially when he cornered Oliveira with a series of punches, Oliveira quickly turned the tables in the second round,
got him with that
landing
left.
a left hook that changed everything.
He catches me with the hook.
His striking has been visibly better from the beginning of this video to now. Like, he's actually standing up, striking, taking people down, confident with it. I'm liking that. Yeah, his striking is just so improved. It's crazy.
Stop the fight.
He's confident with it.
Daniel Cormier,
it's
Joe
big.
Rogan, and John Anik are going bananas right now, but that's part of it.
And that's the night Charles became the champion and proved all his haters wrong.
I was gonna say, I mean, does this fight week feel special, important, like a big moment in your life?
Yeah, I have a very special to me because I have an opportunity to be the world champion. It gives me chills just saying it, you know. I want it so bad. This is very important to me.
You know, it's a tough task, and I'm doing everything I can to put myself in position to compete the best on December 11th for 25 minutes and be the world champion, a goal I set out from a very young age. And that's just it, dude.
In December 2021, at the UFC 269 main event, Charles Oliveira reaffirmed his dominance as the UFC's lightweight champion by submitting Dustin Poirier in the 3rd round.
Yeah, he submitted him. He beat Dustin Poirier. That's dope.
In the opening round, Dustin seemed comfortable, keeping the fight upright. However, round 2 saw Oliveira swing momentum, taking the bout to the ground. There he maintained a dominant top position, seeking opportunities to inflict significant damage. Poirier, on the other hand, hoped to withstand Oliveira's assault, aiming to progress to the next round.
He's not putting feet on the hips. He's not doing anything to get out of here.
Unfortunately for him, this approach proved costly. Oliveira skillfully maneuvered to his back and successfully applied the rear naked choke, securing his championship status.
I thought they was going to get him away in the 1st round, but he's a champ, man. The game plan was to take my time. I brawled again when I wasn't supposed to. The game plan was to take my time and let the fight unfold. Take him to the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and pick him apart.
Well, Dustin,
Oliveira's win against Michael Chandler secured him the title, but his triumph over Poirier cemented his status as a formidable champion. Furthermore, this victory awarded him an unprecedented 12th performance of the night bonus, a first in UFC history. In May 2022, Oliveira was set to defend his title against Justin Gaethje at UFC 274.
We're talking about a man with confidence, one of the best in the world, the champion right now. Can't wait to take what he has. This will be my biggest accomplishment, I would say.
However, a hiccup occurred during the weigh-in. Oliveira weighed in half a pound over the limit for his division.
Wow.
Despite being given an extra hour, he couldn't shed the weight. Consequently, he was stripped of the championship with only Gaethje in the running to claim the title.
Wow. That's crazy.
Okay, here's an update, folks, just for the record. The fight is still on, and the title is currently vacant. If Charles wins the fight tomorrow night, he will win the fight, but the belt will be vacant. If Justin Gaethje wins the fight tomorrow night, he will win the championship.
This marked the first instance in UFC's legacy
where
a title was relinquished because of a weight discrepancy.
He's the guy. He didn't make weight. We have rules. He didn't make the weight. He doesn't, you know, the belt is vacant. But I think, you know, I'm sure in the minds of the media and fight fans, Oliveira is the champion, you know. But technically, he's the #1 contender now. You know, he's the guy.
Dang, that's wild.
And then the foreign fighters would reset the scale so they could switch it back to kilograms. So it fucks up the whole calibration.
Oh, I see.
And so he would weigh in, or he weighed in like the night before the weigh-ins. He was like, oh, I'm good to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the morning, he goes and shows up for the weight cut, and it's a pound plus off. And that is directly related to this calibration thing.
Calibration issue, yeah.
So
makes sense.
now they have the UFC has a new policy because of this, where they have a guard who watches over the scale 24 hours a day. Like, they have shifts where no one can fuck with the scale. Like, if you're going to get on that scale to try yourself, they're going to watch you like a hawk, and you don't press any buttons. You don't just get on, what's your weight, get off. That's it.
Bam. So he beat Gaethje too?
Yet after another
looked like he tearing him up.
performance,
Yes.
Oliveira once again proved that he owns
Choked him out.
the lightweight division. In less than a round, he
In less than a
forced Gaethje
round?
to tap out.
I heard
Though
Gaethje was
managed to
good.
land
Like,
two strikes,
Gaethje did good
Oliveira's
against
advanced technique in both striking and
one of the
jiu-jitsu
Russians.
was undeniable.
I don't know if I can't remember if it was Khabib or Islam, but Gaethje definitely fought. I think he did decent against him. But Charles took him out in a round. That's crazy.
Charles Oliveira, o Charles do Bronx. Hey, there's something missing here. The champion has a name, and it's Charles Oliveira from the Bronx. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main.
By October, the UFC 280 stage was set for Oliveira to take
It
another
was
shot at
Islam.
the title. facing off against Islam Makhachev.
Okay. So I seen some of this
Both
from
Oliveira
the
and
Islam
Makhachev
video.
came into
I knew it was
this
one
fight
of the
on 11
Russians.
10 fight winning streaks respectively.
Sheesh. This is a big fight
However,
then.
on fight night, Makhachev's expertise and strength became evident. Islam successfully executed 2 out of 3 takedown attempts and managed to maintain control for over 5 minutes in a bout that spanned just over 8 minutes. He didn't just set the pace, he was practically conducting an orchestra. With a snappy counter right hand, Oliveira found himself sampling the mats. But here's where it gets spicy. Islam, unlike many of Oliveira's past dance partners, dared to join him on the ground. Oliveira faced a second-round submission, ending his undefeated run that spanned close to 5 years.
Wow. That sucks, but it is what it is.
UFC
Ran into a better fighter.
In June 2023, Oliveira was pitted against Beneil Dariush to reclaim his place in the lightweight title scenario. Dariush, a 34-year-old Iranian, had impressively marked 8 straight victories before this matchup. He began with a low kick, but Oliveira responded with a strong head kick. After a brief slip, Dariush landed some punches in a clinch. Oliveira, countering with more punches, eventually pinned him to the fence. The referee stepped in due to the
It's over with.
And with this victory, Oliveira
got himself back in the W category.
Bonus award.
Okay.
Charles Oliveira 2.0 was our champion for 4 fights or so. Finishing Poirier, finishing myself, finishing Gaethje, obviously losing to Makhachev. But this was a statement fight. Dariush ranked number 4. Oliveira, I believe, ranked number 1, 2, 3, somewhere in there. And obviously Islam is the champion. His last loss was to Islam. So he needed to come back. He needed to stake his claim as one of the best fighters on the planet at 155 pounds.
Charles Oliveira stands as a testament to dedication and excellence in the world of MMA. Through countless bouts and challenges, he's consistently displayed why he holds such a pivotal place in the sport. Fans are captivated not just by his impeccable skill set, but by his relentless perseverance and undeniable charisma. His tale is an enduring reminder that with conviction and courage, one can transcend the ordinary to achieve greatness. This is the story of a Brazilian kid who felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. Nevertheless, he took on the world and came out on top. This is the story of Charles Oliveira.
Alright, y'all. So there it is. Charles Oliveira is an absolute badass, and yes, he is. Like, his story might be the best story that I've watched so far in the UFC. Thank you for everybody who suggested that I even watch Charles Oliveira, because honestly, I probably wouldn't have even gave him a chance, but you guys let me know who to respond to, and this is a great person to react to, honestly. The story, his sickness as a kid, he didn't grow up with a silver spoon at all. Most fighters don't have a silver spoon, but that's just, he just had an absolute great story. Like, he had this greatness as a younger fighter in his home country, but he stepped into the UFC, and there was a lot of ups and downs. It was not just a clean, smooth coast to the championship. He had to work for it. He lost. He went through lots of adversity, and that story, he's the common person. People are going to go through that adversity. People are not going to always have that easy life, that easy road to success. And he's the perfect example of perseverance and push through always. You guys, I'm loving this. I'm loving these reactions. Please let me know who to react to next, what to react to, any great video ideas you guys might have for me. Let me know down below. If you guys are loving the channel, please make sure you subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hit that notification bell to be first to see the videos and to see my reactions, y'all. There's a lot more great content outside of reactions coming too. A lot more different reactions coming as well, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, you guys be safe, give it your all, and I'll see you next time. Peace.